Hello again, YouTube land. Attempt at recording number 2. So, I haven't posted in a few days, I know. I've been surprisingly busy for someone who doesn't work. This weekend is the first weekend of December. And as I mentioned before, I believe, my parents are coming to spend the weekend and we're all going to a concert together. But having your parents visit is stressful. Whether they're visiting you at camp or they're visiting at parent day at college or they're coming to see where you live after you get married, it doesn't matter. Anytime your parents visit, there's stress involved. Whether it's wanting to impress them, wanting to make them proud, or just quite frankly not wanting to have to deal with parent X who pisses you off beyond reason. Generally speaking, the last on that list isn't as much of a problem as it used to be. My dad and I get along better than we had been. And as I've said before, a lot of the credit for that goes to my mom. But I also, want to show off the apartment because they haven't seen this apartment. They visited us very, very briefly in the old apartment, so they don't know what this one looks like. They also haven't met our cat, and they're going to be spending 2 nights here. My parents aren't allergic. There's a cat in their house, but that belongs to my Aunt Janet. So, cleaning, getting the house together. Visiting relatives and service people are like the best motivator to clean I've ever experienced. Ever. So this place is getting a good going over. I am still working on the follow-up project, knitting project for the same client, and I'm hoping to have that done by Tuesday. I'd have it done sooner than that, but parents. On my desk, right in front of me here actually, I have a habit of taping fortune cookie wisdom, I guess you'd call it. Not all of them because, I've eaten a lot of Chinese food in my life and my husband is quite a fan of it as well. So, just the select few that seem the most universal to me have made it onto my desk. I have only 6, but this isn't the first desk I ever had. I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. These are just the 6 that have made it onto this desk. I have one that says, "Pure love is willingness to give without a thought of receiving anything in return," which is true, and why when I meet genuinely charitable people, I know them. Because that kind of behavior isn't solely in charitable works. Like, a charitable person will not only act charitably when working in a soup kitchen, when working in a food bank, when working in a shelter, and then they're a complete jackass the rest of the time. A charitable person is going to act that compassionate all the time. I have one here that says, "You have a reputation for being straightforward and honest," which, yeah, it's actually probably like mea culpa more than anything else. And the 2 here that I have that are probably my favorite of the collection thus far is, "If you think you can do a thing or you think you can't do a thing, you're right." And the other one says, "Education and intelligence aren't the same thing." And I like those 2 the most of this collection. Probably in general in life is 2 of my favorite pieces of wisdom because they're both incredibly true. And of late, I have been better and better at recognizing situations where I have managed to spend a significant amount of time talking myself out of doing something or achieving something, and somehow didn't notice that's what I was doing. Like, there are simple things that should be a one-person job that I should be able to do on my own, that at previous points in my life I did do on my own. And I didn't question it. I didn't question it. I didn't muddle around. I didn't say, well, I need help with that, or I have to get someone to do that for me. When I was living on my own in Maine, I just did. Things needed to be done around the apartment, I fixed them. Things needed to be bought, I got them. And I've noticed over the last few years, I have managed to let myself, well, I guess it's a form of being lazy, really, because I have become more and more dependent on other people doing things for me, and other people completing tasks that I shouldn't need other people to complete. And it's not just like one thing or another thing. It's just a general way my life has developed. There's any number of people where I expect them to do something so that I don't have to, or so that I won't be forced to, or that in any other previous circumstance I simply would have done for myself. And I gotta work on that, because I think among the many things I could list that contribute to my stress levels and somewhat declining health and increasing waistline, that's a contributory factor, is I've become too dependent and too reliant. And I think part of that stems from not having been able to find steady work. Work that I like or work that I don't like, doesn't matter, just steady work. Because I grew up in a house that taught me my existence had to be earned. And I know that sounds a little extreme and strange, but the truth of the matter is, that's how I was indoctrinated as a child. My mother's teachings and philosophy were always, I brought you in, I can and will take you out. You will earn your keep, you will earn the roof over your head, and you will earn the food that I provide you. You are not entitled to anything just because you're my child. So, that's, as I've said before, the only significant bully I ever had to deal with in my life was my mother, and by extension, her mother. So I don't like relying on other people, but I've let myself come to a point where I do it, to make them happy. In my mind, that's what I'm doing. I'm making them happy because they want to be useful, they want to be relied on, they want to provide the service and function that they're being paid to. And I've just gotten too lackadaisical about letting it be that way. So, I have to do more for myself. I can, I will, I should. And hopefully in the long run it will pay off in several ways. It'll reduce my stress because I'm not waiting on somebody else, and it'll reduce my waistline because I'm more physically active, depending on what I need to do, whether it's errands or chores or cleaning or any number of things. I don't know. I had a really ridiculous morning, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of hemming and hawing. I'm trying to get over the worst headache I've had so far this week. I don't know why people say ever. You haven't experienced your whole life. You haven't experienced everyone's whole life. You don't know that it's the worst ever. You know that it's the worst you've felt in a long time, maybe. Maybe for you it is the worst whatever you've ever experienced. But I don't know. I'm very nitpicky. excuse me, about words and phrases, and I'm very editorial. I always have been. But for the most part, I think that's what's going on around here. Um, I'll let you know how the experience of the parental visit goes, probably on Tuesday-ish, maybe Wednesday. They're not leaving until sometime Monday, so I don't know. Ooh. I don't know if you heard it, but that was my neck. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna try and get some other things done that I need to accomplish. There's still Christmas shopping, ordering that needs to be done. I can't believe, look at how long. Like, if you have the time and the inclination, go back to one of my earlier postings and see how short and how blonde my hair was. This has already had about 4 inches cut off of it in the last year. So, my hair grows like a weed. It's for a reason, though. I'm growing it out for a reason. Alright, I'll see you next time.